I hope everyone is having a beautiful evening. Blessings to everyone. February. We're at the end of February. Heading into March. My, how time flies. I hope everyone's had a beautiful month. A month full of beautiful surprises, a month full of love. I, for one, have had a very interesting month, to say the least. A month full of lessons, primarily centering around being comfortable with being my original self. What does that mean? Well, seeing that this whole year has been for me about settling into the self that I began to recreate back in March of 2018, April 2018. I would say that it's been a year of lessons revolving around healing those wounds that have to do with the heart, healing those wounds that have to do with opening the heart, those wounds that have been there, in my opinion, for myself, since my preteen years. Okay? And so with a lot of events that have occurred within the past 4 years, it's brought up a lot of old wounds to the surface, a lot of things that were very difficult for me to navigate because my heart has been closed for so long. And with me not even realizing how far back it reached. So, yeah. I've been really grateful in having a lot of support and a lot of tools available to me as far as assisting me in navigating those emotional waters. And so I'm grateful. It smells so nice in here. It's so nice to be in my space. I'm sitting on the floor right now, one of my favorite places that I like to be, on the floor in front of my altar. I've got candles lit, not only on the altar, but in different parts of my sacred space, my temple. And as I said, I'm sitting here on the floor, and I just lit some Palo Santo, as you've seen, to clear the space and allow for spirits to enter, and my guardian angels and ancestors. And I also have a blend of essential oils, and I'm using a immunity blend. I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically a blend for immunity. I work in an environment where there are lots of people around, and with this being a month here in Colorado, that we are bouncing back and forth between climate. You know, it's one day it's snowing, and then the next it hits up into the 50s, and so the office area is full of the ickies, I like to call it. And so I've actually started my spring cleaning early, spring cleaning of my physical temple. And so I'm detoxing my liver and detoxing my kidneys, gallbladder. And so this will help my immune system be at its fullest capacity. And then the next, I would say probably I'll start in April, cleaning my physical space within my sanctuary here. I find for myself when it's very cold and I've been working, I work early mornings, and so I'll come home and I'll take a little nap and try to do a little bit at a time, but my wardrobe has gotten out of control, and so therefore I have to start putting away some winter things, just a few winter things, and keeping some out. But anyway, I'm sorry you guys are looking at my feet, but so tomorrow we have Venus, beautiful Venus, the planet of love. She will be entering in Aquarius. Oh my goodness. And so I was reflecting upon that earlier this afternoon when I got home, and thinking about how that correlates with Chiron going into, and I think that was on the 18th, I believe, that Chiron entered Aries. And Chiron will be in Aries until, is it 2027? Something crazy like that. But in any event, we know that Chiron is a wounded healer. And, for whatever reason, I was thinking about how Venus entering into Aquarius tomorrow, how that energy is connecting to Chiron being, or getting settled into its long transit here. And it's very interesting because this is a very important transit of the year. And I'll talk about Chiron a little later here, but I just want to get back to focusing on Venus entering into Aquarius and what we can expect of the energy. Now, let me digress for a little bit here and just kind of like touch upon oh, hail Mercury. Mercury, as we know, will be going retrograde soon. and that will be coming up here. Goodness, I want to say the 6th. No, it's the 5th. So March 5th, Mercury will be retrograde in Pisces. And the crazy thing about that is we have a new moon in Pisces that will be happening on the 6th at 9:30 a.m. And I think that time is, let's just say Central Time for now, but hopefully I'll be making a video speaking of new moons in Pisces, seeing that it will be joining Mercury in retrograde here. So, my gosh, we've got a lot of interesting transits coming about. So with that being said, let's focus on Venus. Venus, the planet of love, the planet of desire, control, relationships, control as far as control of, sometimes I mean control of others in a sense, in relationships, to where we are trying to not only get control over our emotions, but trying to control the emotions of others, specifically our significant others and those who are close to us, the besties, familial members, and people such as that. But before I go ahead and talk about what Venus and Aquarius means, I want to just pull some cards here, and I'll be using the Starman deck. You can see that. So I'll be using that deck. The lighting here is kind of low. I apologize about that, but I thought my candlelight would be sufficient. But I'll be using the Starman deck as the primary deck, with the Goddess Oracle giving some insight as far as our focal point. And this reading will basically be for this weekend going into the rest of the week. So I'll just shuffle these cards here. I didn't really do it earlier. Thought I'd play some music that activates the love energy. So it's kind of some mellow tantric vibes here. And I hope those of you who celebrated Valentine's Day, first of all, I hope you celebrated it for yourself, and I hope you gave yourself lots of love and lots of comfort and rest. It's very important that before we focus on our significant other, focus on self-love. Because without self-love, without recognizing our needs, we may miss what our partner is really needing from us. You know, we focus on what we're going to get our mate, what gift, material-wise, they're wanting. And I mean, it's good, but for me, I feel that spending time, quality time with your significant other, regardless of, what type of relationship it is just giving them of your time. And I don't think that's necessary when you are in a space to where you're not letting that self-love flow, when you're not showing yourself an abundance of self-love in whatever way you choose to express that for yourself. So it's just going to be a basic reading for the energy of Venus going into Aquarius for the collective. I'm going to soon be doing videos for each of the signs, primarily for important transits and new moon, of course. But I liked doing it for the collective because I think too with doing it for the signs, it's still a general, not unless you're doing a personal reading. So it's kind of good just to get an overall view of the basic energies that are surrounding us during these transits. So one more shuffle here, and what we have, I'll be damned. I'm going to try to fix my lighting here, but at the bottom of the deck we have the Two of Pentacles, and that's a good sign to start off with, a good card on the bottom of the deck here. This artwork is very active, you know, with Pentacles being that of Earth. I feel that at this time, with this transit, the focus should be on mastery of gathering your resources, and that's kind of what Venus and Aries is going to be focusing on. So but yeah, with the Two of Pentacles showing up on the bottom of the deck, it sets the tone of being in balance, you know? So are you really, as you can see, this person is riding the waves, and although there's challenges that may be happening, he's trying to maintain that balance. And so it could be a balance of your desires versus the desires of others that are in your life. Are you really, like I was speaking of, are you really focusing on taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others? And that has to be in balance, because when you are lacking in an area of your life, and if you're not feeding yourself, how can you feed others? How can you allow to be fed by those who are important in your life? Because if we can't receive from ourselves, how can we receive from others? So I'm going to go ahead and pull 3 cards. I like doing it in 3. so glad that tomorrow is Friday. So right out, we've got swords here. 8 of Swords. And although the image on this card is one where the person is seemingly very serene in their death-like state, I believe it's a period of rest and a sense of not just a physical death, but one of death of everything that has been as far as self, everything that has been collected in the sense of ideas and beliefs regarding the self. And it's time to be reborn. It's a time to really shed that identity that we once had of ourselves, coming out of that state of belief of what we thought of ourselves, you know? With these swords going through, there's 2 swords that are going through this coffin. There's one above the chest, and the figure, the female, is bound. Although their hands are above their chest, they're bound as well. And then the sword is above the, torso, kind of keeping them held down. And so with swords being that of air, it's almost, it's saying, what does my heart really want me to feel about myself? What is my heart trying to say to me right now? How can I free myself of this constriction that I find myself trapped in? How can I free myself? And so it's time for a transformation to occur. It's time for the mind to be free. It's time for those thoughts to be lifted of, a lack of self-confidence, a lack of worth. There's a figure at the bottom, that constriction goes deeper damn, it's almost like I was talking about earlier about how I have been doing that self-healing and how I realized how I was really digging deep and how it stemmed from my childhood, my preteen, you know? And shit was coming up that I hadn't thought about since that period. And how it's really affected me now as far as how I view myself in the sense of my self-worth. And it taken in over the summer, oh my gosh, without disclosing so much, I really found myself in a state of brokenness, and really took me a while to really see that what I went through was not only a product of that moment, it was a product of my preteen years and what happened then. Some crazy shit, And so, with Chiron entering into Aries, it's really brought up a lot of topics that I'll be covering throughout the rest of this year, at least until the return of my son in July. Oops. Oh, let's see here. Oh, man. What? So we have the Three of Cups in reverse. And this image is kind of one that's all over the place, really scattered in its energy. So it's a very emotional card. The feeling that I'm getting from it.
A special invite to join Target Circle. Who's all invited? Everyone. What is it? It's an easy way to perk up every
The feeling that I'm getting from this card, sorry for the disturbance of the commercials.
Exclusive deals. You can even love on your community. Where do you sign up? Join for free at target.com/circle.
But in conjunction with the Eight of Swords, it's
Target Circle.
It's almost like
all around. Some restrictions apply.
The energy is like I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of feeling constrained, and I'm wanting to be free. And all the pent up emotions that have not been transmuted yet, it's kind of like it's all sitting at the sacral chakra, is what I'm feeling. It's interesting why sacral chakra would come up. But yeah, and so with that being said, some of you are going to have to really have a support system in place. no, not have a support system in place. You're really going to have to open up enough to reach out to that support system. That support system may even be your significant other, your partner, in your intimate life. You can't project what you've been dealing with as far as those wounds that you've been carrying around with you. You can't project that on your partner. It's just been too much. And what I mean by it's just been too much, I feel like the sporadic and erratic outbursts that you sometimes tend to, some of you have been aiming towards your significant other, it doesn't, while the situations may have triggered your emotional outbursts, they're really, it's not them, it's you not having enough trust in yourself to be able to really be truthful with yourself as far as expressing to them how you have really been feeling. I mean, you've been so pent up, and hell, what just came to mind is that although you possibly have been expressing that pent up energy in a sexual manner, it hasn't been in a way that you wanted to be. I mean, you've still been holding tight to your true desires and only getting that external need fulfilled. And when it's a deep desire that you've been longing for. Okay? And with that being said, let me hold this here to where you can kind of see it. Gosh darn it, this lighting. With that being said, now's the time to connect with those people in your life that are important, whether it be your significant other, your best friend, or someone who's your confidant. Connect with them in a way that they can assist you in raising your vibrations to help to explore those emotions in a healthy manner, so that you are not, first of all, projecting your hurt onto that person, but you're really examining where all of those emotions are stemming from and finding ways to have a release. Okay? Okay. A lot of cards fell out. 4 of them, but I'm just going to reshuffle those because that was just too many. Let's see here. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with it because 3 came out. So it was first the 7 of Cups in reverse, and then we had the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. I mean, no, 7 of Pentacles upright, sorry. And the 4 of Pentacles upright. And I'll take a picture of these, this spread and put it on my Instagram along with this video so that you can kind of clearly see the images. But I'm just going to get a feel for this because for whatever reason we've got a lot of that 7 of Cups in reverse. It's almost like you have to kind of like reintroduce yourself to your imagination. Live out that fantasy that you've been holding back, okay? Because along with those pent-up desires that you've been kind of not wanting to fully express, you've basically lost the skill of really knowing what you want, imagining what it is. It's like some of you feel like make-believe isn't for adults, and that is far from the truth. You know, as children, we lived in our own world of fairy tales, and we believed in so much. We believed in love, you know, that fairy tale love, the one where, you know, for most girls, that prince coming to whisk them off of their feet, or for that male, that one girl who will give them the time of day and show them a love unlike none other. And so you've kind of like lost that will, lost that dream. It also can signify you really holding on to an illusion of grandiose ideas came to my mind. I don't know what that means, but it feels like some of you have built a world that is not reality, in a sense of how you think others are viewing you. It's like you made up a story of yourself which included others, and so that untruth of like, well, you know, they don't love me because I'm blah blah blah, or I'm not going to open my heart again because they just used it and abused it, and now I'm not fit to love anyone else. And so with this Seven of Pentacles here, it's the images kind of really lost in that and they just feel lost. They feel like, all hope is gone. And although there's a flower that is growing out of that crack, and they have all of these choices, they can't focus on either of them because they're just so lost in despair. And that's what I feel. Picking up on some other energy, but it's excuse me, it's almost like they are not listening to their higher selves. You're not listening to the messages that you've been getting from Source because you're so deep in despair. It's almost like you're in despair because you've been listening to what others have been telling you. It's almost like they have been giving you just feedback on the criticism that you've been giving yourself. Okay? And so what you've been feeding yourself, you've been getting in return from those around you, because it's almost like they grew tired of you always discounting your worth. And so it's just like, well, if you say that you are blah blah blah, or if you are believing that you are not worthy of love, then all right. And then you kind of like turn that around and use it as fuel to continue to feed your own despair. It's almost like, well, see, I told you so. I told you that I'm not worth it. Even so and so said it. Well, I mean, you say it to yourself long enough and then repeat it to others, they're going to begin to see you in that light. Okay?